Tuesday, the 22nd day of October 2025, and the country is still reeling from the death of former Prime Minister Raila Odinga, a man who has just been posthumously declared a national hero and awarded the highest national honors by the title Chief of the Golden Heart, CGH. In Bondo, Siaya County, a family comes to terms with the loss, and traditional final rites are set to take place this Thursday in Kango, Kajaramogi. On this explainer, we also present Power Talk. Tonight, we're focusing on the 60-year trade ties between Australia and Kenya. Also tonight, something else is new on the explainer. Actually, someone else. We are delighted to introduce to our presentation stable Emmanuel Ndungu, who will be joining us to present sports news. Welcome aboard, Emmanuel. Are you ready?
Yes, we're ready to sail, Yvonne, and thank you very much. In sports later on, we'll rise, we'll kick, we'll cycle, and maybe, just maybe, we'll swim. My name is Emmanuel Ndungu, and I'll be bringing you the sports news on Citizen TV. For now, back to you.
Thank you, Emmanuel. We're excited to have you on board and looking forward to the Sports News Bulletin later on The Explainer. The top stories tonight.
It's a mockery of the ideals that Right Honorable Raila Odinga fought for. A mockery of the 2010 Constitution that we collectively fought to have and swore to protect and implement.
Alarm over Ruto laws. Former Chief Justice David Maraga faults President for signing controversial bills in the middle of national mourning. Wheels of Justice. DPP begins extradition proceedings against a British soldier accused in the murder of Agnes Wanjiru.
Members of staff at the Technical University of Kenya shall not be on duty.
Tension at Technical University of Kenya. Over 40 lecturers interdicted for going on strike.
We recognize the foundations that already exist between our two nations.
Open borders, stronger ties. Kenya and Senegal signed deal granting visa-free access for nationals of both states.
Live from Citizen TV, this is The Explainer with Yvonne Okwara.
And Njoki Shege is our sign language interpreter. Good evening. Tonight we would like to begin with a shocking video clip of an unprecedented scene where an elected leader appears to celebrate the death of former Prime Minister Raila Odinga. In the video, Nyeri Governor Mutahi Kahiga termed the death of former Prime Minister Raila Odinga as God's plan to give development back to the Mount Kenya region. Governor Kahiga, who spoke in his native Kikuyu language, says the death of Odinga sends everyone back to the drawing board, including the head of state, William Ruto. Kahiga spoke in Kieni constituency, Nyeri County. Here is the video which we shall be playing for you in just a moment. As soon as we prepare that, we will be getting back to you. But as the nation mourned the death of former Prime Minister Raila Odinga, President William Ruto signed 7 bills into law, a move that has sparked sharp criticism from various quarters. Former Chief Justice David Maraga has condemned the timing, arguing that it disrespected the national period of mourning. He further claims that some of the newly enacted laws threaten freedom of expression and facilitate a covert agenda to privatize public assets. Melita Oletengis reports.
Former Chief Justice David Maraga has criticized President William Ruto for signing a series of controversial bills into law during the country's mourning period following the death of former Prime Minister Raila Odinga. Maraga argues the move was a betrayal of the democratic values Raila championed, as well as the 2010 constitution, which he says the president swore to uphold.
A trajectory that is a mockery of the ideals that Right Honorable Raila Odinga fought for. A mockery of the 2010 constitution that we collectively fought to have and swore to protect and implement.
Among the most contentious is the Computer Misuse and Cybercrimes Amendment Act, which Maraga claims is designed to suppress dissent, especially on social media.
This unconstitutional committee can order the closure of any website, blog, mobile app, Facebook, X, TikTok, YouTube, or Instagram accounts for allegedly promoting illegal activities.
Another law raising concern is the Privatization Act 2025, which Maraga warns could pave the way for politicians to quietly acquire public assets for personal gain.
If they sell to themselves or their proxies, the Kenyan people will not get to know. Simply put, if they sell even strategic assets to foreigners and put them beyond the country's control, the Kenyan people will not get to know.
Presidential aspirant and activist Reuben Kigame and the Kenyan Human Rights Commission have filed a petition in court seeking to block the implementation of the cybercrimes law until it undergoes proper legal review. The respondents in the case are the Attorney General and the Speaker of the National Assembly. They argue that it conflicts with and dilutes the comprehensive framework of the Data Protection Act, making it unconstitutional, null and void. The petition has been filed under a certificate of urgency.
The government knows that people are going to court. The government knows that the Kenyans are not happy. So how do you circumvent this? Move with speed, so that by the time we go to court and if we get court orders, it will be said that we have been overtaken by events.
Maraga has also questioned the rationale behind the proposed sale of the Kenya Pipeline Company, saying the company is financially stable, making its privatization unjustifiable. Melita Oletinges, Citizen TV.
The government will now have the power to shut down a website or a mobile application that shares content that is found to be illegal. The Computer Misuse and Cybercrimes Amendment Bill 2024, assented to by President William Ruto, will see offenders imprisoned for a period of not exceeding 10 years or pay a fine of 20 million shillings if found guilty of sharing information that is likely to cause apprehension or fear of violence or damage or loss on another person's property. Emmanuel Tor reports.
That you've given to us. Mighty Father, this morning.
On the chilly morning of Wednesday, 15th October 2025, just moments before confirming to the nation the shocking death of the former Prime Minister Raila Odinga, President William Ruto was busy at State House, Nairobi, assenting to 8 bills of the National Assembly, including the Computer Misuse and Cybercrimes Amendment Bill 2024.
Your Excellency, the 4th bill to be placed before you.
The act, which has kicked up a storm across the country for giving the government broader powers to use the law to crack down on dissidents, amends the existing Computer Misuse and Cybercrimes Act 2018 and proposes the tightening of the noose around those who abuse electronic platforms, including social media.
The Honorable Dawood, Your Excellency, is proposing to amend the Computer Misuse and Cybercrimes Amendment Act, Your Excellency, so as to prohibit the use of electronic mediums to promote unlawful activities, including terrorism, religious extremism.
The bill seeks to provide a regulatory framework combating unlawful activities, inappropriate sexual content of minors, terrorism or religious extremism, and cultism, amongst other forms of cybercrimes.
The act proposed by Wajir East Member of Parliament Daud Mohammed empowers the government through the National Computer and Cybercrimes Coordination Committee NC4 to shut down or delete websites and mobile apps that share content found to be unlawful.
The bill also provides that the court may additionally order the removal of such unlawful content, closure of or deactivation of the computer system, website or digital device upon conviction of the offender.
The act also proposes a fine not exceeding 20 million shillings or an imprisonment for a term not exceeding 10 years or both to a person who shares electronic content that is likely to cause apprehension or fear of violence or damage or loss to others' property. The changes come months after President William Ruto called out the misuse of social media by anti-government crusaders, especially at the height of the Gen Z-led protests.
All other members of parliament present.
The president also signed into law the Privatization Bill 2025, which now paves the way for the sale of 11 loss-making public entities, including the Kenya Pipeline Company. Other bills signed into law on Wednesday include the National Police Service Commission Amendment Bill 2024, the Wildlife Conservation and Management Amendment Bill 2023, the Land Amendment Bill 2022, the National Land Commission Amendment Bill 2023, and the Air Passenger Service Charge Amendment Bill 2025. Emmanuel Toro, Citizen TV, Nairobi.
All right, we want to recap our top story on The Explainer tonight, which is that shocking video clip of an unprecedented scene where an elected leader appearing to celebrate the death of former Prime Minister Raila Odinga. In the video, Nyeri Governor Mutahi Kahiga termed the death of former Prime Minister Raila Odinga as God's plan to give development back to the Mount Kenya region. Governor Kahiga, who spoke in his native Kikuyu language, says the death of Odinga sends everyone back to the drawing board, including the head of state, William Ruto. Kahiga spoke in Kieni constituency, Nyeri County. Here is the video clip and its translation. Autopsies on the bodies of the victims who died at Kasarani and Nyayo Stadia during a public viewing of the late Raila Odinga's body last week have confirmed that those who died at Kasarani succumbed to gunshot wounds. Bullets recovered from the bodies of Evans Kiche and Vincent Otieno Ogutu have been handed over to IPOA for further forensic analysis, while one unidentified body remains at the city mortuary. Ode Francis was there and compiled the following report.
2 days after the burial of the late Raila Odinga, families of those who had gathered to pay their respects at Kasarani and Nyayo Stadium assembled at Nairobi's city mortuary. The families of Vincent Otieno Ogutu, aged 36 from Umoja 3, Evans Onyango Kiche, aged 40 from Njiru, Josfae Jida Burka, aged 42 from Glakisama, and Josephine Anjao Akengo were presented with the findings on the cause of death of their loved ones.
3 males and 2 females, young adults. On 2 of them, I have found gunshot wounds, penetrating gunshot wounds to the head, with, of course, severe damage to the brain. On a 3rd victim of gunshot, it was penetrating through the chest and through the abdomen with attendant injuries to both the chest and abdominal organs. Well, a third victim, this one was from Nyayo station that was brought here. This lady died of features of what we call asphyxia, and this is due to suffocation.
Families demand justice and answers on events at Kasarani and Nyayo.
It seems whoever shot Vincent had a motive, because that was not accidental. Ni kitu yenye alikuwa ame-aim na alikuwa ame-target kumshoot kwa roho, na alikuwa anajua akifanya hivyo definitely atammaliza. So that's a question I really want answered. Why did this person shoot Vincent on the chest and on the left chest, directly targeting the heart?
Naomba tu justice, tafadhali. Ni uchungu sana.
Tunataka compensation ya ku make sure that hiyo watu livelihood yao wanapata haki yao.
IPOA will seek answers on the firearm that discharged the bullet found in Vincent Otieno Ogutu's body, as well as the remnants of the bullet lodged in Evans Kiche's skull at Kasarani Stadium.
Clearly, we have a problem in this country where police officers, particularly elite police officers, shoot to kill, as has been said many times by those in authority.
Meanwhile, teams from IMLU, human rights activists and detectives from DCI Kasarani and Langata have confirmed the killings of the 4 victims. Former Nairobi Governor Mike Sonko, who was present, said he would hire lawyers on behalf of the families to help them seek justice.
Now, as families prepare for burial, the question or the puzzle on who is responsible for the deaths of the mourners at Kasarani and Nyayo still remains. Ode Francis, Citizen TV, City Mortuary, Nairobi.
The government has formally initiated the extradition process for a British soldier accused of murdering Agnes Wanjiru in 2012 in Nanyuki, Laikipia County. The Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions told the court that it has forwarded the extradition request letters to the Office of the Attorney General, which is the legal and diplomatic authority responsible for forwarding such requests to the United Kingdom. Seth Alale with the details.
In his 10-page extradition letter dated 7th October 2025 to the United Kingdom Central Authority, the Director of Public Prosecution, Renson Ngonga, states, "I present my compliments to the competent authority of the United Kingdom and have the honor to request your assistance in the endorsement of the warrant of arrest issued by Honorable Justice Alexander Muteti, judge based at the High Court of Kenya, Milimani Law Courts, for the arrest and surrender of a British citizen from the United Kingdom to the Republic of Kenya. The fugitive is required to stand trial, having been charged with the offense of murder, contrary to the laws of Kenya, and that the Office of the Director of Public Prosecutions is therefore seeking assistance in the endorsement of the warrant of arrest issued by Honorable Justice Alexander Muteti to arrest and surrender a British citizen from the United Kingdom to the Republic of Kenya to stand trial before the High Court of Kenya for the offense of murder. The fugitive herein is a citizen of and resident within the United Kingdom and is believed to be within the United Kingdom, and that the extradition request is based on the extradition within the Commonwealth. This request for arrest and surrender of the fugitive is made in the interest of justice. The fugitive shall not be tried for any political, military, or fiscal offenses in Kenya. Further, the fugitive shall not be tried for any other offense other than an extradition crime proved by the facts on which the extradition is sought and grounded. The ODPP has further attached documents in support of the extradition request, which include excerpts of the Constitution, Penal Code, Laws of Kenya, ODPP Act, copies of the autopsy report, and key witness statements. The ruling by Justice Alexander Muteti, among others. In On Tuesday's mention of the case, presiding Judge Alexander Muteti directed the matter to be mentioned monthly to monitor progress, rejecting the prosecution's proposal to push the next mention to January 2026. Seth Olale, Citizen TV.
Amnesty International, the Law Society of Kenya, and Vocal Africa have launched a global petition urging Uganda's President Yoweri Museveni to immediately and unconditionally release Kenyan human rights defenders Bob Njagi and Nick Oyo. The two were abducted in Kampala 20 days ago, and their whereabouts remain unknown. As Mary Mwoki reports, the High Court in Uganda is set to revisit the habeas corpus application tomorrow, Wednesday, amid growing international pressure on both Uganda and Kenya to take action.
20 days and counting, yet no word from Ugandan authorities. Human rights groups are intensifying calls for the release of Kenyan activists Bob Njagi and Nick Oyo, who were abducted in Kampala on October 1st by men in military uniform. A habeas corpus application filed in Uganda has since stalled, with the state now expected to explain on Wednesday why almost 3 weeks later the two have not been produced in court as ordered by Justice Simon Peter Kinobe.
Now we haven't gotten any positive response from Uganda. What we are hearing from them is that they are denying that they don't have them in Uganda, yet a high witness who was with them witnessed them being abducted by people who have military uniform.
The case had been postponed to tomorrow 8 a.m. and the government is supposed to present a written report on the whereabouts of these two. So we do not know what is it that they have not written in the last 7 days that they were given by the court. So we just call upon Kenyans and every other African, wherever they are, to speak on this, because we do not expect much from the courts.
Frustrated by silence from Kampala and what they term as Nairobi's abdication of duty, human rights activists have petitioned Kenya's Attorney General to intervene in the case. Amnesty International Kenya, the Law Society of Kenya, and Vocal Africa are now rallying global support through an online campaign, urging citizens worldwide to write to President Yoweri Museveni and demand the immediate disclosure of the activists' whereabouts.
We are petitioning just to seek legal advice on how to proceed with this case. It is now 20 days since they were abducted. Now we want Kenyans and every concerned citizen of Africa, concerned citizens of the region, to ensure that we work together towards the end of abduction.
We are calling for the Kenyan government to essentially extend its responsibility to Kenyan citizens to guarantee their right to legal representation and communication with their families. The fact that they have been incommunicado is essentially under international human rights law an enforced disappearance.
Amnesty further calls for an independent investigation and accountability for those behind the abductions.
So we are calling now for the intensification of a demand that the two men must be released and returned to their families. 20 days is much too long.
Despite growing diplomatic and public pressure, the Ugandan state claims its efforts to trace the duo have borne no fruit. But credible reports suggest the two are being held incommunicado at the Mbuya military facility in Kampala. Tomorrow's court session will determine whether Uganda faces contempt proceedings or if justice for Bob Njagi and Nick Oyo will be further delayed. Mary Mwoki, Citizen.
Tonight, there appears to be no end in sight for the lecturers' strike, as the Dons say they are willing to stay out of class up to the end of the year. The striking lecturers say they will wait for the court ruling set for the 11th of December. This as lecturers at the Technical University of Kenya began their own protest after the institution slapped more than 40 members of the academic staff with interdiction letters for participating in the ongoing national strike. Willie Lusige reports.
As
protest songs continue to be echoed across all public universities, lecture halls remained deserted for the 34th day. The fate of the higher education continues to hang in the balance after the lecturers and workers' unions, UASU and KUSU, maintain that they will skip classes until the government releases the 7.9 billion shillings pay increment agreed upon in the 2017-2021 CBA.
The court will make a ruling on 11th December. So in the interim, the strike continues to bite and bite deeper.
This happening as academic staff at the Technical University of Kenya TUK began a parallel protest over failure by the university to honor the March agreement to pay full salaries and end the practice of half payments.
Members of staff at the Technical University of Kenya shall not be on duty until all the items in the strike notice are undressed. You signed a return to work formula with us on the 19th of March. To pay gross salaries, you lied to us.
Over 40 lecturers and staff from TUK who were leading the national strike were shocked when they found the main gate locked and received letters of interdiction. They vowed that both the national and TUK strikes will continue until all their demands are met.
They always wait until when we have given a strike notice. That is when they now wake up from slumber and start threatening members of staff.
The people we are demanding our rights from are harassing us by locking us out of a public institution. And if you are so efficient in interdicting, why will you not be efficient in paying our full salaries?
The headline stance by the academic staff paints a grim picture of the challenges facing public universities and the uncertain future of the higher education. Willie Lusige, Citizen TV, Nairobi.
You can now visit Senegal without any visa, at least for 3 months. This after Kenya and Senegal signed a bilateral agreement that lifts visa restrictions, allowing citizens of both countries to travel to either state without visa requirements. The agreement signed Tuesday at State House Nairobi between Interior Cabinet Secretary Kipchumba Murkomen and Senegal's Foreign Affairs Minister Cheikh Niang seeks to bolster diplomatic and economic relations between the two nations. Stephen Latour reports.
During the official state visit to Kenya by Senegal President, Kenya and Senegal agreed to scrap visa restrictions for all their citizens traveling between the two nations.
We recognize the foundations that already exist between our two nations and are pleased to announce the conclusion of a new visa waiver arrangement that will allow citizens of both countries visa-free travel for up to 90 days.
President William Ruto and President Diomaye Faye of Senegal witnessed the signing of the agreement at State House Nairobi, say the visa-free travel agreement for up to 90 days will strengthen bilateral relations between Kenya and Senegal.
This important milestone will foster stronger people-to-people ties and boost tourism, trade, and collaboration. In a bid to deepen our bilateral ties, the Joint Commission for Cooperation remains a vital platform for monitoring and expanding our bilateral agreements.
The two leaders reaffirmed their joint commitment to closer collaboration in trade, peace and security, energy, sports and multilateral affairs.
Our collaboration in these sectors aims to not only enhance prosperity, but also to promote sustainable development between our two nations.
Senegal is willing to work together with Kenya for better taking into account Africa's priorities at national, continental and international levels.
President Ruto said Kenya and Senegal will also work on eliminating barriers that have inhibited trade between the two countries and further pledge to uphold the goals of Agenda 2063 and support the implementation of the African Continental Free Trade Area Agreement. Stephen Leto, Citizen TV.
All right, so we want to take a short commercial break here on the program tonight. But before we do that, we'd just like to take some reactions that have been pouring in following the release of that clip by Governor Mutahi Kahiga on Raila's death, those controversial statements that were made by him. Let's take a look at some of them now. Dr. Caroline Karugu, who's the Principal Secretary for EAC Affairs, says Governor Kahiga's celebratory remarks that Luo Nyanza will now be poorer because Raila Odinga is no more are silly and deeply unfortunate. They do not reflect the views of the majority of us from the region. Even the wicked should have the decency to let mourners grieve in peace. Truly, from the abundance of the heart, the mouth speaks, and we will know them by their words. We have some more reactions here. Judith Mugo says, from Mount Kenya, says, I did not pray for anyone to die, and I shall never. Quavius, I believe, says the statement by Nyeri Governor Mutahi Kahiga concerning the death of CGH Raila Odinga is very unfortunate. A nation that is grieving the passing on of a statesman didn't expect such statements from not only a Kenyan, but also a leader in the status of governor. Do we have some more? Here's one from Alex Ngare, says, shame on Governor Mutahi Kahiga. Such people should not be near any leadership position. Do we have some more? A. Mwitu says, leaders must promote peace and rise above hate and division. Shame on you, Kahiga. Oruru Kevin says, for Kahiga, politics is more important than mourning. And Muriaso says, as a Kikuyu from Nyeri, I completely disassociate myself with the sentiments by Nyeri Governor Mutahi Kahiga. What a shame. And finally, Robert says Nyeri Governor's comments about Raila is out of order, period. I'm from Nyeri, and this is not what Nyeri citizens want. More of those reactions continue to come in following those statements by Nyeri Governor Mutahi Kahiga. Let's take a break. We have more news coming up for you, including Power Talk. Today, we're speaking with the Australian Assistant Minister for Foreign Affairs and Trade and Immigration. Thank you very much for being with us on Citizen TV.
Thank you for having me.
Welcome.
Yeah, thank you.
Welcome to Kenya. Welcome to Citizen Television.
Thank you.
All right, please have a seat. On Power Talk tonight, we speak with Australia's Assistant Minister for Foreign Affairs and Trade on the 60-year trade ties between Kenya and Australia. Welcome back. Thank you for staying with us on The Explainer. Now, following huge discrepancies in this year's tea bonus payouts, the Ministry of Agriculture has hinted at making changes in the leadership of the Kenya Tea Development Agency as frustration among tea farmers continues to stir disquiet. Agriculture Principal Secretary Paul Rono, while speaking in Kericho, accused current directors of the tea agency of sabotage as government moves to implement reforms in the tea subsector. But as Kamau Mwangi reports, KTDA has in response asked the PS to keep off the agency as it accused him of deliberate efforts to meddle with its mandate.
The burial ceremony of the late Mzee Augustine Koskei, father to Tea Board of Kenya Managing Director Willie Mutai in Kipchimchim, Kericho County, was dominated by the debate over this year's tea bonuses as the Agriculture Ministry and the Kenya Tea Development Agency took each other head-on. The ceremony took a turn when Agriculture Principal Secretary Paul Rono hinted at ongoing deliberations to do away with the current KTDA leadership, under whose watch tea farmers in the west of Rift received bonus payouts of as low as 8 Kenya shillings, as their counterparts in the east of Rift had bonus payouts running as high as 57 Kenya shillings.
Mkutano mingi nasikia ni ya nini? Tungefanya siku hilo ile samani kidogo. Sio wakati bonus umeumana ndio tunauita mkutano. So, hii directors ya KTDA si wakati imefika serikali itaingia ndani. Na hiyo utasikia.
The PS accusing the agency of presiding over the wastage of resources in numerous meetings by directors in tea factories, as well as those in the national office attracting hefty allowances. Allowances, he says, should be going to farmers as payouts. He also accused them of concerted efforts to frustrate the government in implementing tea reforms.
Wakulima enda kuchuna majani chai. Uliweka watu huko kusimamia hiyo viwanda. Ulituweka huko juu. Fanyeni kazi. Nitarudi tu nikitaka election. Nitaomba kujeni kumeumana hii watu waende nyumbani.
However, KTDA directors present, who could hear none from the PAS, faulted him for trying to meddle with the agency's mandate, warning that politicizing the tea sector would be disastrous to farmers.
Wacheni kila saa kusema KTDA. KTDA inakujia wapi kwa majani chai ya mkulima hapa? Iko mahali inakujia? Let's stop that. Na watu waache siasa na pesa ya kulima. Ati mtu akitaka kutafuta kura anachukua microphone. Majani chai.
Whenever there are issues, let's come and sit and discuss these issues together. When we bring them out to the street, we may politicize until we lose direction. And we think that certain people are at wrong.
Kule kwetu mnasikia kelele? Ya majani chai iko kelele? Iko kelele? Wananchi wakulima wanataka iko kitu kingine?
Kamau Mwangi, Citizen TV.
The Employment and Labour Relations Court has barred Kiambu County government from replacing doctors in Kiambu County, pending hearing and determination of a case. The interim orders issued by the Employment and Labour Court Justice Helen Wasilwa restrained the county government of Kiambu from dismissing or replacing medical specialists in the Department of Health Services at the county. The petitioner, Dr. Gathoni Njeri, is one of the striking doctors who've been on a push and pull with the county government since the beginning of the strike in May 2025. The petitioner argues that the move by the county government to advertise their positions on the 15th of October is unconstitutional. We're very privileged here on Citizen Television to be speaking with Australia's Assistant Minister for Foreign Affairs and Trade and also the Assistant Minister for Immigration, and that is Matt Thistlethwaite. Thank you so much for being with us and welcome to Kenya.
Great to meet you, Yvonne.
Good. I hear you're a runner.
I am not a bad runner, but certainly not as fast as the Kenyans that I ran with. And this is just an awesome highlight for me, and highlights just how great Kenyans are in the sport of marathon. But we met the Commonwealth Games sprint champion this morning and got the opportunity to have a run. It was just an awesome highlight of this trip.
I hear you outpaced him. Is that true?
He's a sprinter, so we went for a 5K run. So that's not unusual, but just an awesome opportunity to meet some wonderful Kenyans who are on the international stage and who I'm big fans of, and most Australians know as well. And recently we had the Sydney Marathon in Australia. It's now a major, and there were plenty of Kenyans in the top 20 in both the male and the female, and Australians have an affection for Kenyans, particularly Kipchoge, who was a superstar at the Sydney Marathon.
That's right. Welcome to the land of world-class runners. We are happy to have you here.
Yeah, thank you.
Good. So you are here, of course, because Australia and Kenya are marking 60 years of friendship, of collaboration, of partnership. Give us some of your reflections on this special anniversary.
It's an important relationship for both Kenya and Australia, and it's an enduring one that our government wants to grow and foster, and we want to strengthen the people-to-people links, the industry and trade opportunities, and importantly the sporting links, through greater investment in both of our nations, and we're here to discuss that over this period and to try and see how we can foster that cooperation and strengthen that relationship between our two great nations.
And you've spoken to some key senior Kenyan government officials. Could you talk to us about your plans for this bilateral relationship?
Yeah, I've had meetings with the Minerals Minister, the Chief Cabinet Secretary, and that was an opportunity for us to discuss the importance of the relationship, to discuss the opportunities, particularly in the resources sector. The Mining Minister came to Australia for Africa Down Under and got the opportunity to visit some of our resources projects, and we're keen, from the Australian perspective, to see more Australian companies share that expertise that we have in the resources sector with businesses here in Kenya, so that Kenyan businesses can grow their industrial base, can grow their expertise in the resources sector, and that we can partner, and both of our nations can benefit from that relationship.
Yeah, let's talk about economic partnership now. So two-way trade between both our nations, that's Australia and Kenya, is now surpassing what? $1 billion. That's huge. What are some of the key areas that have gotten it to this level? And what more opportunities do you see?
I think in resources there's huge opportunities. So a lot of that investment will be in, and trade will be in resources. In agriculture, Kenyan businesses supply fresh flowers into the Australian market, and there's great opportunities for that to grow. We're partnering around climate change initiatives to protect both of our agricultural sectors, and of course people-to-people links. There's about 8,000 Kenyans who are studying in Australia, and we welcome that. There's about 27,000 Australians who tour Kenya every year. And they're the people-to-people links that we think we can grow for the benefit of both our economies and our nations.
Yes, because many Kenyans perhaps would know Australia for the education opportunities. There's quite a bit of that between both nations.
Yeah, that's right. About 8,000 Kenyans are studying in Australia in a host of different occupations and skills. Many of them will go on to work in Australia, and we welcome that, but importantly, many of them will come back to Kenya with that educational foundation, those new skills, and make a contribution to the Kenyan economy. I had a breakfast meeting with some representatives of some of the Australian universities that have partnerships here with Nairobi University, RMIT, Curtin, Edith Cowan. They've all got partnerships here in Kenya, and that's aimed at strengthening that educational relationship so that both of our nation's young people can benefit from those educational opportunities.
Yeah, we also have some shared challenges in the Indian Ocean region. Could you speak to us about that and how you see the bilateral relationship being used as a tool to solve some of these challenges?
Yeah, the Chief Cabinet Secretary and I discussed that this morning. Obviously, peace and security in the Indian Ocean is something both our nations have a vested interest in. And as a democratic nation that follows the rules-based order, Kenya is a nation that Australia is keen to work with, and we've recently bolstered our defence forces through the acquisition of a new submarine fleet, a new surface vessel fleet, and much of that will be aimed at securing peace and stability in the Indian Ocean Rim, and we're keen to partner with the Kenyan military and Kenyan Defence Forces to maintain that peace and stability, which is vitally important to both of our economies and our people.
This is your first bilateral visit to Kenya. Do we hope to see more visits, if not by yourself, but by others, as we continue to strengthen the 60-year ties between both countries?
We certainly will. I think the word that comes to mind for me is opportunity. The opportunity for Australia and Kenya to strengthen our relationship, the business opportunities that exist, the educational opportunities, and importantly, the people-to-people links. And it's been wonderful for me to be able to meet some Australian diaspora who are living and working here, backed up by our excellent High Commission staff who are doing wonderful work. And I've certainly got a great taste for Kenya now, and I'm sure I'll be back.
Okay. Coffee or tea?
I drink tea.
Okay. Both are good.
Yeah, both. Kenyan tea is very, very good. Very, very good.
I hope you get some tea.
I'm going to take some home to my wife. She loves her tea, and she's very discerning with her tea, so I'm sure she'll be loving some of the Kenyan tea I'm bringing home.
She can't get any better than Kenya.
That's right.
Sure. Thank you very much, Mr. Minister, for speaking with us.
Pleasure, Yvonne. Thank you.
Appreciate your time. All right. Equity Group Sustainability Report shows progress in its social. Equity Group has released its 2024 Sustainability Report, showcasing measurable progress in social, economic, and environmental impact across Africa. The report, themed "A Sustainable World is a Transformed Africa," highlights the group's growing role in promoting financial inclusion, climate resilience, and community empowerment. Dennis Otieno reports.
Equity Group Holdings has unveiled its fourth annual sustainability report, reaffirming its commitment to building an inclusive and sustainable Africa. The 2024 report captures the bank's tri-engine model, integrating social, economic, and environmental pillars. Under the social protection pillar, Equity reached over 447,000 vulnerable households, disbursing 25.8 billion shillings in cash transfers and 4 billion shillings in affordable credit to refugees and marginalized communities. The group also advanced its leadership in climate action, distributing over 44,000 clean energy products, planting 35 million trees, and training nearly 246,000 farmers in climate-smart agriculture. In education, 38,000 scholars benefited from scholarships, while its health initiative reached over 3.3 million patients. Equity Group CEO Dr. James Mwangi said sustainability remains central to the group's purpose, ensuring growth that is inclusive and enduring.
Sustainability is not an add-on. It is our strategic compass. It points to our true north. It is embedded in our governance, our leading, and our culture as our third engine.
Dennis Otieno, Citizen TV.
Absa Bank Kenya has unveiled a new credit line dedicated to financing sustainable and affordable housing projects, marking a major step towards aligning the financial sector with Kenya's green transition agenda. The facility will provide financing options for developers, contractors and homeowners to accelerate adoption of green building standards that minimize waste and increase energy efficiency. Jimmy Mbogo has more.
Thank you so much. And finally,
through the Absa Eco Home Loan, the lender aims to provide resources to finance projects incorporating renewable energy solutions, water recycling system, low carbon materials, and efficient waste management technologies.
The Absa Eco Home Loan allows you to get a home loan and a home kitted with all these efficiencies. And what's good, it comes at 110% loan to value, meaning if a value of a home is 5 million shillings, you can borrow up to about 6.5 million shillings. If a value of a home is about 10 million shillings, you can borrow up to about 11 million shillings. That allows you to kit these extra equipments in your home.
According to Muthui, the Absa Eco Loans underscore the bank's commitment to driving inclusive economic growth through sustainable finance, noting that the facilities will be available through its corporate, SME and retail banking segment.
We've got the partnership with Kenya Mortgage Refinancing Company, where we have loans of about 9.9%, less than 10%, and the repayments are for that long period.
Jimmy Mbogo, Citizen TV, Nairobi.
The Coca-Cola company is cutting back its bottling operations in Africa. The global beverage giant is selling a majority stake in Coca-Cola Beverages Africa, its biggest bottler on the continent, to Coca-Cola HBC in a deal worth $3.4 billion. The move marks another step in Coca-Cola's plan to hand over bottling operations to independent partners, leaving the company to focus on building brands and driving sales. Here's Jasmine Momboy with the details.
To understand the deal, it is important to know how Coca-Cola operates. The company itself doesn't bottle or sell the drinks you buy. Instead, it makes the formulas, that is the concentrates and syrups, and sells them to independent bottlers. These bottlers then manufacture, package and distribute the finished drinks to retailers, restaurants and even street vendors. Coca-Cola focuses on marketing and brand growth, while the bottling companies handle production and logistics on the ground. And it is this model that the Coca-Cola company now wants to replicate here in Africa. The company and its South African partner, the Guche Family Investments, have agreed to sell a 75% controlling stake in their bottling company, Coca-Cola Beverages Africa, to independent bottler Coca-Cola HBC. Coca-Cola HBC, already one of the world's biggest bottlers, operates in 29 countries across Europe and Africa, including Nigeria and Egypt. Once the deal is completed by the end of 2026, Coca-Cola HBC will handle nearly 2/3 of all Coca-Cola drinks made in Africa, reaching more than half of the continent's population. The agreement also allows Coca-Cola HBC to acquire the remaining 25% 25% stake of Coca-Cola Beverages Africa from the Coca-Cola Company within 6 years. Jasmine Wambui, Citizen TV.
That's it for the day's business news. And of course, in the day's sports news, as we promised you at the start of this live newscast, drum rolls, please. Mr. Emmanuel Ndungu is in the building to give us the day's sports news. But let's set some ground rules, Emmanuel. First, Arsenal, Manchester United.
Nah, I'm a Chelsea fan, man.
Good answer. Right answer.
You want me to choose between them?
No.
I can't even do that.
I like that answer. AFC versus Gor Mahia. Think
AFC.
carefully now. Yes.
Yeah? That's the right answer. Of course it is. It must.
Yes. Now you're welcome to do the sports news.
Of course.
You're in with the right crowd.
Thank you very much. It's good I've passed the test. But now this is what we have coming up after the break. Zone 3 boxing championships to sail to the women's flyweight final. That and more after the break.
Make your home a signature home. Introducing Lifestyle Steel Stone Coated Roofing Tiles, where roofing excellence is backed by a lifetime guarantee from Mabati Rolling Mills.
It's time. Let's get into the sports news. Kenya's Faith Nafuna boxed her way to the final of the women's flyweight category as the Africa Zone 3 Boxing Championships entered day 2 at the Kasarani Gymnasium. Nafuna will now be aiming for gold when she takes to the ring on Friday against the Democratic Republic of Congo opponent Nyembo Gisele. Here is Isaac Swiller with the story.
Kenya's quest for the Africa Zone 3 Boxing Championship title got a shot in the arm on Tuesday as Faith Nafuna secured her spot in the women's flyweight final after defeating Tanzania's Sarafina James 5-0 in a crucial semi-final bout held at the Kasarani Indoor Arena. Nafuna will be back in the ring on Friday, where her eyes will be trained on gold as she exchanges punches with Nyembo Gisele of the Democratic Republic of Congo, and she admits the journey to the final was intense, driven by immense pressure from both the expectant home fans and rivals.
Hizi nchi zingine walikuwa wanatutishia huko kwa mitandao, wanakuja kutudestroy sisi Kenyans, na pia pressure kwa mafans. Walikuwa nasema ni lazima tubakishe title home. Walikuwa na expect tupigwe, lakini Mungu ni nani, tumejitahidi mpaka tumefikia hapa. Mungu amekuwa na sisi.
She remains hopeful for a triumph with the national team coach John Ocheng backing her for glory.
Performance kama hii imechangiwa na dedication from both coaches and players na determination. Wamejituma kabisa katika mazoezi na pia sisi hatukucheka nao katika mazoezi.
Meanwhile, in a separate flyweight bout, Ugandan Angela Kateshabe suffered defeat to the Democratic Republic of Congo's Nyembo Gisele, but the Ugandan is taking it all in her stride. With the tickets punched, the stage is now set for an explosive conclusion to the championships as the Kenyan squad aim for overall title on home soil come Friday. Isaac Swiller, Citizen TV.
Thanks very much for that, Swiller. Now, moving on, Kenya's visually impaired para-powerlifting team is in camp, ready for the week-long World Para-Powerlifting Championships that will be held in Turkey from next Monday. The David Waore coach team of 7 men and 4 women will leave the country on Saturday with the aim of improving their medal tally from the Kazakhstan Championships. Coach Waore says the athletes are using their platform to encourage others with disabilities to embrace sports as a life-changing opportunity.
Our bar is quite high, and we don't want to
lower the expectations of our funders, which is actually the government. And again, we don't want to kill the morale of our officials. So we are targeting more and more, and if not more, then more gold.
Naweza ambia wana Kenya ya kwamba timu iko imara. Siku yote tu mchezaji akiamini Mungu na amini coach na afuate yale coach anamwambia, hawezi kosa kutoboa, kwa sababu coach anataka tu atoboe.
The training that we have had now and the preparations that we have made, I can say that the team is very ready and they are very positive on the results. From the cooperation and the unity that I have seen from the team, we are expecting that we shall have a good performance.
In other news, Team Kenya is banking on experience and player camaraderie to deliver a strong performance in the men's handball at the 2025 Tokyo Deaflympics, scheduled to run from November 15th to the 26th. It will be Kenya's second appearance at the Games after debuting in 2022 in Brazil. The team is in Group B alongside Croatia, Serbia and France, while Group A consists of Japan, Germany, Turkey and Brazil. With barely a month to the Games, Kenya's 18-man squad has intensified preparations at the Nyayo National Stadium here in Nairobi.
Positive, all smiles. I'm ready to make sure we lead this beautiful team for a win. I'm very positive about it, about being a captain, and I'm sure there's a possibility of a win. If it's not a win-win-win, we're going to be bringing some positive results.
Preparation are in high gear. We started this preparation a long time ago. We were prepared such that we were playing the league matches with the able country, and we are winning some matches, we are losing some matches. So I can say that we started this preparation a long time ago.
Now on to the Champions League. Atletico Madrid and English Premier League side Arsenal are currently locking horns in a UEFA Champions League group match in North London, while Newcastle United are battling Benfica as Villarreal entertain Manchester City. We have some of the live scores here. Earlier today, Barcelona beat Olympiacos 6-1. So that was an impressive result over there. 0-0 for Newcastle Benfica at the moment. But PSG, 10 minutes in, already 1-0 up against Bayer Leverkusen. So that is the sports that we have for you at the moment. We'll bring you more information on that in the coming bulletins.
All right, that's the sports news, ladies and gentlemen, with Emmanuel Ndungu. Thank you. I'd like us to take some feedback on some of our stories tonight. I think most of the feedback is in regards to the statement that was made by the governor for Nyeri County. If we can take a look at some of that. Many leaders continue to do that. Emmanuel, let's go through them together. Would you like to read the first one?
Yeah, sure. This is from Kwachira. As a Kenyan who comes from Nyeri, I want to vehemently condemn the position and statements made by Governor Kahiga. It's despicable that one can celebrate or be seen to celebrate someone's demise in the name of politics on fake false information when development is spread evenly across Kenya.
Yeah, and that is the Principal Secretary in the Ministry of Energy, Alex Wachira, who responded to that there. Let's take a look at some more. This is from MC Ongiri or Makongiri. A man's ruin lies in his tongue. May God forgive you, Governor. Let's take a look at another one. You want to read this one?
Yes. Mutahi Kahiga's comments are unfortunate. Even if you hate your enemy, the least you can wish them is death. We are all mortals. Death, inevitably. To claim that Raila Odinga's death was a blessing in disguise to the people of Mount Kenya is playing cheap politics.
All right, do we have some more? Yes, this is from Gilly Kipkeme. The reckless remarks by the Nyeri governor celebrating the death of Right Honourable Raila Amolo Odinga is shameful and deeply unbecoming of a leader. In moments of national mourning, we unite as Kenyans beyond tribe or politics. Alichoma kabisa. Finally?
Yes, remarks made by Mutahi about the passing of Honorable Raila. Such comments are unbecoming and unbefitting of a leader. We should honor the deceased's legacy with dignity and respect. Mutahi ill-considered words only serve to fuel tribal divisions.
And that's where we leave it. I'm sure there'll continue to be some more reactions to that. I think I've seen a post by Gladys Wanga, who's the governor of Homa Bay County, also calling on him to resign as the vice chair of the Council of Governors. We'll continue to see a lot more of that. Emmanuel, it's good to have you on board.
Thanks very much. Thanks for having me. It was an honor being next to you, sharing the stage.
All right, absolutely. Well done on your first broadcast. We look forward to having you today and in the days to come. Thank you, everybody, for watching our broadcast tonight. Njoki Shege is our sign language interpreter. I'm Yvonne Okwara.
And I'm Emmanuel Ndungu.
Good night.